What if I told you that he was the greatest? Growing up in a small town in New Jersey, greatness is hard to come by. But Stephen Niro changed that.
My name is Stephen Niro, and this is my story.
As a young athlete, Steve was good. And I mean good. This kid stepped on the court, and it was over for the other team. Steve was like a mixture of Steph Curry, Bo Jackson, and Deion Sanders. Steve and I were teammates on our middle school basketball team, and that's when it all started. We took down an undefeated team to win the championship, and game after game, Steve would score 20 points, 25 points, 30 points, and it was special. That really sparked the greatness ahead of him.
My standards were set real high for me. Like, my dad was a college athlete, played 2 sports, so the bar was set high. And as a kid, I always dominated in games. Like, the best defender always guarded me. When I pitched, I was striking kids out. I was hitting home runs like it was my job. I don't know, being at the top was just special, and it made me who I am today.
Steve was an unreal athlete. Even off the court, off the field, I mean, he really had a great confidence level in himself, and he was always a humble person, so it went well with his athleticism.
Having great teammates was another reason I was good. Like, my teams were always excellent. I had great teammates, they rallied around me. They knew I was the focal point. Everything went through me. As I'm not trying to brag, but I was the dominant force as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and 12-year-old. I was. And it took a toll. Like, years later, it definitely took a toll on how my career shaped out now. It sucks. I set high goals for myself, but I wanted to achieve them, and certain things happened in my life and I couldn't do it anymore. Being at the top definitely is a struggle. Everyone's on your back. They're shooting for you, and it's tough. It really took a toll on my life. And then one game, middle of April, I was pitching, no-hitter, going through 5 innings, pop fly, and I missed it.
Oh man, that day was crazy. I remember I was playing third base.
Ball slammed my face. I was on the ground bleeding out of my nose, rushed to the hospital. I was diagnosed with a broken nose, and I missed 8 weeks, and that was the end of my baseball career.
Watching that happen to Steve was crazy. Like, I mean, yeah, he broke his nose, yeah. It's not, a total career-ending injury, but the fact that he missed that time, and it kind of threw him off a little bit, and that was the beginning of the downfall.
I tried to come back from it. It just wasn't the same. Like, I couldn't pitch. I couldn't throw my fastball anymore. I don't know. Just the timing was off for me. And then just about 5 months later during basketball season, hairline fracture in my ankle. And that really was the end of everything special that happened in those 3 years. I was out for 4 to 6 weeks. I came back again, had to wear a brace in my shoe. And it just, I don't know, what was never the same. It was the same thing as baseball. Not career threatening, but just took me out of my flow. And I was just an average player from there. Never really got to the dominant state. And I knew that was when it was over for me.
It was so disappointing to see because, he was a great player, and even though, he still had the talent, obviously. He didn't lose his ability, but I guess the mindset kind of went away, and it was upsetting to see because, he was always, he had high goals for himself, and he wanted to really make it far, maybe, play sports in college, have a good high school career first, then go, maybe get a scholarship or something. But, stuff happens, and it was disappointing to see, definitely.
Sports were a huge part of my life for that short 3-4 year span, and now I've learned to deal with it. All the injuries that happened, it happens, and now I'm at college and I'm enjoying it. So everything's got to come to an end at some point, and that was the end for me.